picture too. Okay. Oh, yeah, she's gonna get that one.
How are
Oh,
you?
it's too much. I tell you.
Good. All right, everybody ready? Who we missing? Oh, Sam. Where's Sam's in the audience? Where's Al Jesus? Good morning. Good morning. I'd like to call the Wayne County Full Board meeting to order. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
The board is now open for roll call. Commissioner Killeen has requested an excuse. You have a quorum present.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next item, please.
Invocation.
Today, we are going to have our invocation introduced by Commissioner Sam Baydoun. Sam, if you come up, please.
Good morning, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It's truly my honor to introduce our religious leader from the city of Dearborn this morning. Imam Radwan Mardini is the founder and director and is currently the imam at the American Muslim Center in Dearborn, and he has been there since 1993. He received his Bachelor's of Arts in Islamic Theology in Jurisprudence from the King Abdulaziz University and his Master in Islamic Theology and Economics from Al-Qura. He is currently a volunteer chaplain for the state of Michigan, and he has been serving in this role since 1992. His duties include providing religious activities and programs such as counseling, pastoral care for the sick, performing marriage and funeral ceremonies, and much more for over 3,200 inmates. He is also a chaplain for Dearborn Police and a chaplain in the Wayne County Sheriff Department. He is a member of the Detroit and Dearborn Religious Alliance, International Association of Institutional Chaplains, Chaplain Advisory Council, and a member of the Islamic Delegation to the National Conference of Catholic Bishops, among many other organizations. Please help me welcome Imam Mardini.
Thank you so much for the introduction. May the peace and blessing be upon all of us today as we stand together, praising God the Creator, God who created us and created everything in this life for us, so we may live and enjoy, but be righteous. And may the peace and blessing be upon all the prophets and messengers of God, who God chose to send through them a guidance to our hearts, our minds, and our spirits. Oh God, in this session and every session of this brave man and woman who took the responsibility to serve the public, to serve them indiscriminately, and to provide programs to serve them in every capacity. Oh God, I pray for them, empower them, help them, grant them the resolve, word of wisdom and work for this county and for the state and for our country, the United States of America. Oh God, on these high holidays, bless them and bless their families, and bless all of those they work for peace, justice, and equality. God bless our county and all the executive, our states and our governor, our country and our president. All say amen. God bless you all. Thank you.
Encouraging words. Thank you, Mr. Singh.
Thank you. Sam, thank you so much.
Next item, please.
Reading, correcting, and approval of the journal.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Ware.
Move approval.
There's support? Moved and supported. Please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Report from the chair.
Thank you. Today, I'm going to allow the DIA and Mr. David Flynn to address the Wayne County Commission during the report from the chair. Dave, if you could come to the microphone. And on your tables, you do have an information package from the DIA.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the Wayne County Commission. My name is Dave Flynn, and I'm Senior Vice President for Public and Community Affairs, and Salvador is the CEO and Director of the DIA. We'll just take a few minutes today to bring you up to speed on where we're at in our process and give a quick update. Obviously, we're 8 years into a millage with Wayne County, and it has been extremely successful where year after year we have a service agreement with the county, and we've met and exceeded that year in and year out. And we put together a comprehensive packet. We won't go through it today, but it's a tri-county report that shows all of the progress, all of the investment, all of the spending that has happened through this millage on four key areas: free admission, K through 12 field trips with transportation, our senior investment, where we bring seniors down every Thursday to the museum for activities, and our community partnerships like our Inside Out program, our public art in local communities, and working with local nonprofit organizations. And last week, we inked a deal with Wayne Community College District for 3 years to offer programming and services for the next 36 months. And so a snapshot of what's happened in the past 8 years is in this packet. You can see that close to 1 million free visits have happened in Wayne County. Over 219,000 students have taken advantage of a curriculum-based field trip to the museum where we provide 100% of that transportation. And about half of that we break down is from Outer Wayne and half is from the city of Detroit students. When you look at our senior program, you'll see that we've had close to 500 groups take advantage of buses that come down to the museum every Thursday. Over 10,000 teachers have been trained in the tri-counties to bring those critical thinking skills back to the classroom. And this isn't just art. This is science, this is math, this is history. And a lot of this counts towards their recertification towards the state of Michigan. We've had 157 Inside Out installations in local downtowns where people can identify with our masterpieces from the museum and tease them to come down to the museum to show what a world-class museum we are, because you don't have to go to Chicago or DC or New York. We have a top 5 museum right up Woodward. And our community partnerships, we're investing in public art in different communities. I think the Hannon House has it this year, and we're doing something downriver next year. But these are things that are portraits in the community, murals that exist for generations to come, and we work with local partners so that we actually have a product that reflects the community. It's not the DIA coming into your community and telling you what you need. We are listening to your constituents and your organizations to make sure we're relevant and we're impactful. And I know we only have a couple minutes here, and so I'll close by saying this. We're in the process of going through the renewal for March 10th, 2020. The Wayne County Art Authority on November 13th unanimously voted to place this on the ballot. We just came from Oakland County this morning at 8 a.m. from their Art Authority in Pontiac, and they unanimously placed this on the March 10th ballot. And now we're working through the progress in Macomb through their county commission, as well as their Art Authority to get placed on the ballot as well. And so we wanted to make sure that we're continuing to be transparent, we're continuing to inform the commission on everything that we do, and we're always an open book. We'll answer any questions that you have, any requests for information we'll put in writing. But we wanted to come out here, and you've been a partner since the beginning of this millage. And even though you don't place it on the ballot, we want to show the respect that we have for this commission and this county, because we don't take for granted anything. This millage has changed the museum. It's allowed us to change lives, especially with young people in our community. And we want to continue these services. And so that's why we're seeking a renewal of this millage. Salvador?
Just thank the commission and thank Dave for very eloquent words. We're extremely grateful to this commission and to the Arts Authority in Wayne County This millage has transformed the culture of the organization. In the past, we were an organization that looked inwards. Generally speaking, now we are looking outwards. We are going beyond the walls of the DIA. We're serving the community, and we have become a tool for the community. We really are changing people's lives. People from all over the country come, from museum professionals, to see how we do this, and it's just a role model for everyone. So I really want to thank you, because it's thanks to this commission and the Arts Authority that the DI has become a better place for all.
Thank you so much, and congratulations on all the wonderful work you've done. Today's Thursday, and I know you have one of your senior visit days on today, so just thank you for all that you've done for our communities and all the great things that you're providing for our citizens in Wayne County, the students especially, who get to come down to the DIA and witness art, and hopefully that'll change the trajectory of their lives if they witness art and what they can become as artists themselves. So thank you for that. I think I saw Commissioner Irma Clark Coleman's hand.
Yes, I too would like to thank you for all that you're doing. It is wonderful that you are you still arranging for like transportation for the students to come to the DIA? I think that that's just marvelous, and I'm happy to hear of the figures that the numbers that you're receiving there. But you're becoming much more visible in your community work, and that I like. And I congratulate you, and I support you 100%.
Thank you.
Thank you. And the number is 34,000 students each year in Wayne County that we 34,000 students in Wayne County
Wow.
each year we bring down for a curriculum-based field trip and 100% of the bus transportation.
Yes, I love that.
Very good, very good.
By all
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner Baker McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I too just want to thank you for all the work that you're doing. In fact, today I have 2 buses of seniors coming to the DIA for the movie day,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
So, great job, great job.
Thank you very much.
Thank you again for coming out and sharing this. Good luck on the ballot. I'm sure if commissioners will be out supporting that effort, because again, you do such great work. And again, as Commissioner Irma Clark Coleman said, you are being very much more visible than in the past, so we much appreciate that. So thank you for coming by, and good luck.
Thank you, Madam
Thank
Chair.
you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Next item.
We are moving to page 2 of the agenda, offering of all petitions, ordinances, resolutions, and presentations. There is one item listed, introduction by Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabree of Sergeant Major Ronald Green.
Okay, Mr. Treasurer, to the podium, please. I went off a little bit because the treasurer has a very important event today, but he had a very special guest he wanted to bring to introduce to us today as well. Mr. Treasurer.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the commission. Today we have our 3rd annual Veterans Forum, and it's happening in Dearborn Heights, in Commissioner Webb's district, in Bellagio's. And I wanted to tell you, we started this 2 years ago, and we started with 30 people. 30 veterans came out in Southgate. Last year we moved it to Detroit, and we're going to go to Detroit every other year. We had 120 veterans come out last year with 28 vendors. This year we have 45 vendors, and we have already RSVP for over 300 people.
Wow.
So it's continuing to grow. We have Wayne County Veterans Affairs, and other vendors will be there. But today I wanted to take time to introduce our guest speaker for the Veterans Forum. The program for speaking will be at 11:30 to 12:30 today, so some of you may be able to make it. Sergeant Major Ronald Green. He was here 2 years ago for Marine Week, and in Madam Chair's district, they had an unveiling of a mural at the Montfort Point Marines building. Sergeant Major Green's 36-and-a-half-year veteran in the U.S. Marine Corps, and he was a sergeant major, the sergeant major for the United States Marine Corps from February 2015 to July 2019. He's traveled the world defending this country, and he's a great man. We spent time yesterday with the veterans at Piquette Square and at the Michigan Veterans Foundation, and I was just watching him interact with the veterans. Great patriot and very humble man. So I want to introduce him, Sergeant Major Ronald Green.
All right.
Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, Wayne County. It's an honor and a pleasure to be back with you. 3 years ago, we asked Michigan, could we bring the Marine Corps, your Marine Corps here, and show you exactly, what we do, and introduce you to, the people that actually guard this country. And you all rolled out the red carpet, and I'll be forever grateful. I actually moved my schedule because I'm on terminal leave. December 31st is actually my last day. I'm out of uniform. My last day on the payroll. I get a job, and my wife said. But I moved my schedule around in the Pentagon, and I wanted to come here and say thank you for all you do. You don't have to be in a uniform to serve. It's great and it's humbling to sit in Congress and testify, to be here today and listen to the work that great Americans do in support of people. The world just marvels over the United States and how we do it. The Constitution, the Emancipation. I mean, I've done more Pledge of Allegiance here in the last 2 days than I've probably done, honestly, in one place in the last year, believe it or not. And that's something that's wrong in other places. But you obviously have it right here in Wayne County. And this morning, I won't take up too much of your time. I just want to tell you thank you for your service and what you do for the people. You have over 8,000 veterans with needs, and they're homeless as of your report in 2018. That's one report. To see how the forum is growing, I couldn't pass up the opportunity to come here and say thank you to your veterans for serving their country. Thank you to you for serving your people. May God continue to bless you. Chaplain, thank you for the prayer. And I'm going to have a great day here in Wayne County. Have a great day.
Thank you. Sergeant, Sergeant Major Ronald Green, Sergeant Major Ronald Green. Hold on a second, please. I know you are. I know Eric is I know you're running out to get to your event. I just want to say we are honored to have you here with us today. Thank you so much for your service to our country. We so appreciate you. It was wonderful having the Marines here Marine Week a couple of years ago. That mural is beautiful right on Joy Road in Schaefer in my district. Thank you for all that you've done. We are so happy that you rearranged your schedule to be with us and to talk to and to mentor to all the veterans that you saw yesterday and today. So we just want to say thank you for your service. Thank you that all you've done, and you are always welcome here in Wayne County.
Thank you.
Thank
in
you.
In the words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back.
Simplify.
That's okay.
Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Yeah, I just want to say to Eric that this is a great program that you're doing. You know, when, I'm sorry. Yes, when we were in the legislature, we were in the Senate, they used to have something of this sort in Wayne County. And I'm sure that my colleagues Martha and Ray, who else was there? Glenn. We were out there when they used to have them at the Light Guard Armory. They would have a forum of this sort. And I asked that, I've asked several times, if we could do that again. It hasn't happened, but I'm glad to see that that our treasurer spearheaded it.
There's a lot of people doing work for veterans, and we're not the only ones doing it. There's a lot of people out here been doing it for years.
I know.
And
I
we
know.
we started off just trying to help people save their homes from foreclosure.
Yes.
But it grew so much, and we found that there are so many other needs that we just wanted to dive in and help, and that's what we're doing.
But I'm glad to see the forum where people can go and get a lot done with one stop. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Thank you, Sergeant Major Green.
Madam
Have
Chair.
a wonderful day. Madam, Mr.
There's a
Basham.
Marine that wants to speak.
We have a Marine. We have one of our veterans
There's a
here.
Marine Air Force.
Just don't move until we say.
Air Force. Oh, was it
Madam
Air
Chair,
Force?
I was in the Air Force, but I can still say Semper Fi and hoorah.
One team, one fight.
All right.
The enemy never asks, the enemy never asks what service we're in when we meet them on the battlefield. They just ask for the freedom and the liberty that they talk about in our Constitution and our emancipation. Liberty and justice for all, to ourselves and our posterity. And when I was growing up as a young kid, I never paid attention to posterity. But as I became older and became a Marine and became self-disciplined, words I don't know I started to research. And posterity means future generations. So the forefathers that sat down and wrote the documents, they really put meaning to it. As a nation, we need to pay attention to that. Go back and look at the words for what they really mean.
Yes,
And then we will understand that it truly takes everyone to defend this nation.
yes, it does.
It absolutely does. And if we
Absolutely.
trust in God first
Yes.
and obey those rules, we'll be okay.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Amen.
Thank you. And I'll do one last look, one last look, see.
They gotta go.
Okay, thank you. Have a great day. Thank you so much. Give them another round of applause for coming here to visit us today. Thank you so much. Next item.
We will return to page 1 of the agenda, unfinished business. There is one item listed, an amendment to the Comprehensive User Fee Ordinance, Article 9, Section 129-276, to amend fees of the Department of Public Services Parks Division.
Okay. Entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Support.
Okay, please vote.
Madam, this is,
Voting
sorry,
to open the public hearing.
sorry.
Okay, public hearing is now open, and this is the fee ordinance for the Light Fest. Is there anyone here from the public who would like to speak to the fee ordinance increase for the Light Fest? Anyone in the public to speak? Anyone to speak? Anyone to speak on this item? Hearing none.
Public hearing.
Moved and support to close public hearing, please vote. Oh, moved too fast? Sorry. Okay, all right. Okay, please vote.
Motion carries.
Okay. All right. Madam Clerk,
Motion carries.
next item. Vote. Okay, so as was discussed at the last meeting, there was a fee ordinance increase, and this is what we're going to vote on right now. Is there a motion? And then we'll have discussion. Is there a motion?
Sure, I'll move to amend these fees for, it's also for Elizabeth Park and for the Light Fest.
Support. Moved and supported. Discussion, Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you. I would just ask if there's, if Mrs. Bradford is here, if she wouldn't mind coming up to the microphone. We had a conversation about this item, and I appreciate her giving me a call and was willing to discuss this issue. And as everyone knows, that there were several of us, I think, that expressed a concern about the cost to seniors. And would you just please explain what the decision that you mentioned to me when we spoke on the phone, and I think you're going to follow up with a memo or something as far as how the nonprofits and seniors would be excluded from this increase on a bus.
Through the chair, thank you, Commissioner Anderson. What we discussed has been our practice where we do have nonprofits, those that come into Light Fest from senior buildings or from group homes, adult and youth group homes, who make provisions through our Parks office to make that notation at the $5 vehicle fee to request a complimentary pass for access through there. So we do allow that through the sponsors that we provide complimentary passes for, that they would do that on our behalf and provide that provision for them. So we will continue that practice on that behalf. Again, as we spoke, the majority of those minivans and commercial vans and buses are basically for profit. 80 to 90% of those that visit Light Fest are charging fees to the individuals to come through various Light Fests or holiday displays, and Wayne County Light Fest is one of those. But on occasions that we do receive those requests at gate, our supervisor has some latitude in order to use some discretion, but generally the practice is that each vehicle would pay the $5 fee unless there are provisions made, which we have in advance, so we work through our sponsors to provide complimentary passes for them.
I appreciate that and the explanation, and I did want to mention that Janelle Allen called, and I think she was in conversation with you too, and I appreciate the willingness to clarify that because that was the alarm bells that went off in my head that, as several others I know that I spoke to on the commission, that they had the same concern. And because it's something that the seniors especially look forward to, one way to get out of the building, and many of them don't drive, and I appreciate that. And just to clarify, this won't take effect until next year's light show, correct, because this tonight is the opening for the Light Fest.
Through the chair, that is correct, Commissioner Anderson. Once the body, if they approve and resolution, it will not go into effect until next year. So we'll be able to promote out the changing of the fees to individuals, companies, and businesses, so they will know what the new fees will become next Light Fest season.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Bradford, for further explaining that for us. I appreciate that. Any further discussion on the item? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item.
We return to page 2 of the agenda, reports from committees. Report A from the Committee on Public Services. There are 21 items listed on pages 2 through 6 of the agenda.
Commissioner Marecki.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move approval of items 1 through 21. And I have a list here. Commissioner Dobb would like to be the maker of the motion on number 3, Commissioner Baydoun on number 8 and 12, and Commissioner Varga on 19.
Okay.
And Commissioner Haddis on 9.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Commissioner Basham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's going to be a real surprise. I'm going to vote no on item number 3, a retroactive modification contract.
Okay. Thank you. Duly noted. Any other discussion? Commissioner Webb?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just have a question regarding item number 4, just because I'm not on the committee and it's interesting, so I'd like to hear a little more about it. If the Director of Parks would indulge us. It looks like it's connecting bike paths or trails.
Through the chair, Commissioner Webb, this is a grant that we received from the Ralph Wilson Foundation in partnership with the Friends of Detroit River. And this will be a framework plan for Hines Park that will give us basically a guideline or a base to develop connections to the community and creating trails, non-motorized trails and bike paths along Hines in order to connect to those respective communities. And I think it's focusing basically on a 6 to 10 mile radius, so we'll go from Westland through several other municipalities down to Dearborn.
Oh, okay, so the Ralph Wilson Foundation, did we apply for this grant, or did the Friends of the Detroit River apply for
We
it?
applied as joint partnership
Okay.
with Friends of Detroit River and several other entities, Motor City Heritage Trails, as well as Riverside Kayak and a number of other agencies joined together on this Ralph Wilson grant, because the ultimate goal is to connect to the Iron Bell Trail, but to also provide those connection points for various communities.
And the Iron Bell Trail is the one that's along 275?
Correct, that
Okay.
connects up through the Upper Peninsula UP, and it connects through Washtenaw County and other counties as well.
So this would connect, this is just for the plan?
This is just for the plan.
Okay, and the plan is from Westland, what they're planning is the connectivity between Westland and Dearborn?
It will ultimately connect up to the Iron Bell Trail, but it's along that approach for Hines Park. So ultimately, we'll go to Rouge Park within the city of Detroit, up through their connection that they're utilizing through the former Rogel Golf Course. So we'll all loop in through several municipalities are involved with some type of non-motorized connection plan. This is just a portion that we will be working on, focusing on Hines, but also to provide those other ancillary locations to provide connection through the Iron Bell Trail.
And the reason that I asked, because I thought it was strange that your partner on the grant would be the Friends of the Detroit River if it was in Hines.
Because, again, we all have, Ralph Wilson would like us to work collaboratively together.
Yeah, sure.
And a number of these agencies have connection plans. So
Okay.
we're working together.
To
so we
connect
can
them all.
Connect them all together.
Nicely
Yes.
done. Okay, great. I support that 100% and wonderful. Thank you for the explanation. It
Welcome.
was a little confusing because I just couldn't put the connection between the 275, I-275 bike path and the Friends of the Detroit River just didn't, but I get it. Thank you.
Ralph Wilson Foundation is very dedicated and committed to park systems. They're the ones contributing a great amount of money to the Detroit Riverfront Conservancy West Park that will be hopefully unveiled in the next couple of years. So they're very dedicated to parks in our region. Commissioner Baker McCormick?
Thank you. This is to number 6, and I don't know if you would, this has to do with the public services, the street sweeper.
That would be, I believe that is our equipment division. Mr. Coley.
Okay.
Good morning, Derek Coley, Director of Equipment Division, DPS.
Thank you. Just a clarification on, do we have currently a street sweeper?
Yes, we do. We have approximately 20 street sweepers in our fleet.
Okay, and because I asked this question before about, because I'm fighting this war on trash, and I asked about 6 Mile McNichols Road being swept and Outer Drive. Do you sweep those at all, and what's the policy around that?
The places that are swept, that's a question for our roads division. But as far as the equipment, that would be my question.
Okay, I see. Anyone to answer?
Roads Department, is there anyone here from the Roads Department who can answer that question?
I don't know if this would answer it, but I have been in communication with roads. They said that the Wayne County commitment is the primary road system for Wayne County. I don't know exactly which roads that includes, but the primary road system for the county.
Okay. Isn't McNichols Outer Drive primary roads?
I can find out from our roads division.
There's no one here from Roads?
Our roads director was called out. There was an emergency. He was called out about 10 minutes ago.
So, yeah, if we can get some clarification on what roads and if there is a schedule for sweeping those roads, that would be greatly appreciated.
Yes, through the chair, I do know that there is a schedule.
Okay.
And I can find out from
Thank
the
you.
roads division and send it back through Mr. Kendrick.
All right, thank you.
You could provide that to Commissioner McCormick. Thank you. And for the record, on number 6, Bell Equipment Company and Mr. James Bell, who is my father's name, but this is not my father, for the record. Don't you wish? Okay. Any other items on the Public Services Report? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Next item, please.
We are on Report B from the Committee on Ways and Means. There are 14 items listed on pages 7 through 9 of the agenda.
Commissioner Varga?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Move the Ways and Means Committee report. Support.
Been moved and supported. Any discussion on the Ways and Means report? Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Next item, please.
We're on Report C from the Committee on Health and Human Services. There are 8 items listed on pages 9 through 13 of the agenda.
Baker McCormick, could you please do the report in the absence of Commissioner Clean?
Health and Human Services.
Page 9, item, number C.
Okay, so I move that we accept,
Move to approve?
yes, I'm sorry. Move to approve items 1 through 8.
Support. Okay, items 1 through 8 on the Committee on Health and Human Services. It's a motion to approve and support. Any discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, please.
We remain on page 13 of the agenda, Report D from the Committee on Audit. There is 1 item listed.
Commissioner Basham.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I got one item, move to receive and file.
Support.
Move to receive and file the audit report. Is there discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Next item.
Your Report E from the Committee on Public Safety, Judiciary, and Homeland Security. There are 3 items listed on pages 13 and 14 of the agenda.
Commissioner Clark Coleman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to approve items 1, 2, and 3.
Support.
Moved and supported for the public safety report. Is there discussion on any of the 3 items? Discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Next item, please.
We're on Report F from the Committee on Government Operations. There are 7 items listed on pages 14 through 16 of the agenda.
Commissioner Webb.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move item 1, item 2 as amended, items 3, 4, 5, and 6 for approval, and number 7 to receive and file.
Okay. Okay, those items have been moved as directed. Commissioner Basham.
Oh, thank you for recognizing me, Madam Chair. I'd like to vote no on item 1 for being a comparable source contract. No on item 3 for being retroactive and comparable source contract. A no on number 4 for being a retroactive. And that's it.
Okay. I'm sure the clerk notes.
Duly noted.
Okay. Any further discussion on these items? Commissioner Anderson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Item 1, I just had a question about why we did not go out for bids on that contract. And I noticed that it's again, it's one of the companies involved certainly in building the Criminal Justice Center. And what I'm concerned with is that we're not making with a comparable source contract rather than going out for bids. We're not allowing our local firms that might have an interest in this.
Excellent question. James Heath, Corporation Counsel. With respect to the HOK bid, I think it makes absolute sense for us to use CompSource on this one. As you know, they've been the designer on the CJC project. There's the strong potential for the civil justice facilities as well as the juvenile facility to be located within the same proximity to the CJC. All of the stakeholders, for the most part, are the same. So, for instance, Jeff Goodell from HOK will continue his conversations with our end users, the Third Circuit Court, and others in doing the planning for this. And it's really just the most economical, and I think, path to go and what makes sense. You should know, and this has come out of your committee's meetings at the introduction of Commissioner Irma Clark Coleman, we have been involved with local firm in terms of architecture. We have put them in touch with Mr. Goodell and HOK, and those conversations continue, and I think it's probably likely that we will have, with this project on the upfront, more inclusion with respect to the design than we have in the past. And so I'd like to thank your committee as well as Commissioner Clark Coleman for bringing that to our attention early on and making that opportunity available. And so
That was my next question as far as the architectural work, that we make sure that we include the gentleman's firm or some other firm that's a local firm, if we can include them in that process. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any additional discussion on anything? Commissioner Webb?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to make a couple of comments on a couple of the items. And one of the, because I oftentimes have similar issues as some of those that were expressed today. But the one that we just spoke about is one of those things where it would have cost us more to go anywhere else. Definitely, because the people already have the expertise. So they're already involved in the project. And, while I'm 100% for competitive bidding, everything we do, sometimes if you're going to, at the end of the day, if it's going to cost the taxpayers more money, it just doesn't make sense. So that was the case in item number 1. With the item number 2 as amended, they did extend the term of the co-op. That's why it was amended. We had a language change there. So I just wanted to be clear on that one. And as far as like lawsuits with, retroactivity as it relates to lawsuits, those have historically been a retroactivity issue. And you're going to see them a lot of times when it comes to litigation, because it's just impossible for us to get it through our process in the time that we need it. So we can't just not show up for a court date because we haven't got the contract through the process. Some cases are not as easily excused as others. I'll put it that way. Some, I think they should have got here sooner. But in some particular, I just wanted to state that for the record, that there are going to be retroactive legal contracts, as those who have been around here a long time know, that are just impossible to handle out any other way. We just have to be responsive when we can't be, or when the court dictates that we need to be, and we can't always get things through the process in time. So just wanted to put that on the record. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Baker McCormick?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So number 4 is a legal issue that was already being dealt with.
To Act 312 arbitration that was ongoing, and there were dates that we just had to meet, and so that is why that is retroactive. Correct.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Okay, to the addenda, Madam Clerk?
We are moving to new business. There is one item listed on the addenda. Item number 1 is requesting commission approval of the revised 2019 apportionment report.
Commissioner Varga?
Thank you. I would like to suspend Rule 27 so we can vote on this
We can't
today.
hear you.
I'd like to suspend Rule 27 so we can vote on this today. Since we didn't have it in committee, I'd like to have us vote on it today.
Does she need a motion and support for that?
Yep, that's her motion. Is there support?
Support.
And just for further clarification, Rule 27 states that the apportionment report goes to Ways and Means prior to full board. We're having it come straight to full board. So it's been moved and supported to suspend the rules. Please vote.
Motion carries.
Okay, Commissioner Varga?
Thank
Or Commissioner Marecki, I'm sorry, or Marecki and Varga.
Thank you. I move approval.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported. Okay, what this is, as you recall, this is our amended appropriations report. On November 5th, there were elections, and some of the levies in different communities changed from our vote in October. And then in addition to that, what you have before you is an amendment to the vote about Schoolcraft College. We are, in this packet here, the motion is to approve the Schoolcraft College opinion and what the voters did to increase their mills. So that's all included in your packet, as well as the resolution that you have amending and explaining, as well as the information that you should have received through email on yesterday with how we got to where we got in this opinion. I don't know if our council wants to add anything. Alan Hemcop and Felicia Johnson were very instrumental in doing a deeper dive into this issue and coming up on the same side as Schoolcraft College. Felicia, do you want to add anything?
Through the chair, as you indicated, my office looked into this matter. We've had discussions with Corp Counsel, discussions with the attorney for Schoolcraft. We've reviewed the legal opinion from Oakland County. Our opinion, as indicated in the document you received, is that there's sufficient legal basis to support the levy that was voted by the voters for Schoolcraft. So that is included in this report. In addition to that, as Chairwoman mentioned, the levies from the recent election that were passed are also included in the report before you.
Discussion, Commissioner Webb?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to thank our attorneys for their hard work and your leadership, Madam Chair, for allowing them to do their hard work to get us to this point. It's Schoolcraft College is a jewel in Western Wayne, for certainly all of Wayne County, but in Western Wayne, where their district is, and of course, they have a little bit in Oakland County and a little bit in Washtenaw County, but I think 92%, I believe it is in Wayne County. So our decision on that, it will influence the decision of the other counties. So I'm pretty confident that once we go through this today, if we pass it successfully, that the other counties will come along. And I just think that we really need to support all our community colleges because, you know, they offer an affordable option to a lot of families that wouldn't otherwise be able to send their kids to college. So the residents of Livonia voted for it and passed it, and the residents of the district did. I know I voted for it and supported it. It's not going to cost the county anything, and it's really going to give them the latitude that they need to increase the services to our constituents. So I just want to thank everybody that was involved with getting it here today.
Thank you. Commissioner Marecki?
Thank you. I would like to say the same thing. I know there were hours and hours of work that went into this, and we have a lot going on at the commission right now anyway, so I really appreciate it. Schoolcraft is in my district, and I'm also a former student of Schoolcraft, so I just really appreciate this, and I think we're on the right side of this. The voters voted for it, and I just think we're on the right side of this. And so I know how many hours this took because I kept hearing this. So thank you to everybody that was involved in this. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Commissioner. And yes, is Alan, did Alan step out to help count?
Alan's here.
Alan's over there. Hello, Alan. And again, Alan spent a great amount of time, as indicated, working on this. So I want to give him a special thanks. He had big screens and papers and all over for many days. So thank you, Alan, for your extra work in this. And as always, our commission counsel with Felicia and Regina always do an outstanding job making sure that we have the legal opinions that we need and that are supported. So thank you. And with that, Commissioner Varga.
I also want to thank our staff for the hard work, and also you, Madam Chair, for taking the leadership on this as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item.
We will return to page 16 of the agenda, upcoming committee and task force meetings.
Okay, please note the upcoming meetings. If there are any changes, please let the clerk be aware. Commissioner Haydos?
Thank you, Madam the Chair. I'd like to postpone the Committee on Economic Development from the November 26th, and it will be scheduled for December 10th.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Varga?
Just a reminder that we are going to start at 11 a.m. on Tuesday or immediately following public services. We posted it for 11, hoping that they'll be done by then. Thank you.
We may have to take that 12:30 spot, but we'll talk. Commissioner Marecki.
I would just like to remind commissioners that the Committee on Public Services will be held in this room next Tuesday at 9:30.
And I will thank you for saying that, because actually there's going to be work being done in the conference room on 7 on Tuesday. So all of the committee meetings will be held here on Tuesday, starting with public services at 9:30. Okay. Any other changes to the meeting? Oh, Commissioner Webb.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Committee on Government Operations was moved, and it's posted here correctly, but I just want to bring it to the attention of committee members because it's different. So we'll be meeting on Tuesday, December 3rd at 11 a.m. Rather than the Wednesday slot that we usually have. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Clark Coleman. Microphone, please.
Sorry. That the Committee on Public Safety has been moved from, and this is to allow, we know that there's a lot of Thanksgiving activities going on during that week. So I have a huge Thanksgiving turkey giveaway where we're giving away 300 turkeys and side items to needy families. So, and that's happening on
22.
You've been there, haven't you?
Yes, the
Yeah, you've been
20.
there. That's happening on the Tuesday before.
Yes.
But we spend a lot of time assembling those bags and getting ready for it. So, and we know that I shouldn't say everyone. I know that several of us might have to cook Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah, don't say all of us.
So we have to start on Wednesday. So we have to start on Wednesday. So I thank staff for allowing us to move our meeting on public safety from Wednesday, next Wednesday, to Tuesday, December 3rd at 10 a.m.
Very good. Thank you. So everyone, please note the changes in those meeting days and times. Okay, thank you. Next item.
Public comments.
Madam Chair, I had one announcement on upcoming meetings. I just wanted, even though it's next month, the normal meeting of the Committee on Criminal Justice Complex we'll be postponing that until January. So because it's falling on the date of our last meeting, and there's just too much going on. We'd already, I think, informed Mr. Heath and the administration that we wouldn't be meeting at that time.
Very good. So your December Special Committee on Criminal Justice Complex will not meet in December. That next meeting will be in January after today's meeting. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Public comments.
Public comments. Is there anyone from the public who would like to address the Wayne County Commission? Do you have any cards, Madam Clerk?
No cards.
Anyone from the public who would like to address the Wayne County Commission can come to the podium. Anyone to address the Wayne County Commission? Okay, next item, please.
We are on page 17 of the agenda, testimonial resolutions and certificates of appreciation. There are 8 items listed on pages 17 and 18 of the agenda.
Move approval. There's support? Moved and supported to accept the testimony resolutions and certificates as presented. Any discussion? Please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item.
We are on page 18 of the agenda, memoriams. There are 4 names listed.
Thank you. Let me first give my condolences to the members of the Detroit Police who lost one of their officers last night in a shootout on the west side of Detroit. They are law enforcement officers, put their lives on the line every day for the safety of us, and it's a tragedy when one of them is lost in the course of doing their job. So we want to just make sure we extend a special condolences to them and thank them for their service. We should do that daily because of what they do for us every day. But condolences to the family members and the police department for losing one of their members. And I saw a hand over here, Baker McCormick.
No, it's me.
I'm sorry. Irma Clark Coleman?
Yeah. Okay, so I too would like to extend my condolences. I was reading this morning an article from Officer Womack, and he said that he was talking about his colleague being shot, and he said that he had just said to him, just before he left the station, 12th Precinct, that be safe. Be safe. And he walked out of there, and he hasn't seen him since. So I just really, really urge us to stop this gun violence. Stop it. Just stop it. We're ruining families. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And you're absolutely right. We are ruining families unnecessarily through gun violence in all facets. The young man who was killed was an 18-year veteran, and then there was another officer shot who was a 3-year, and he was shot in the leg and is at the Sinai Grace Hospital. So we just want to make sure we keep them in our prayers. Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you. I'd like to add the name of Marie Toromino. Her nickname was Mickey, and she passed away on November 19th. Her services will be tomorrow. She and her husband Frank built and operated the first Mickey's Dairy Twist. And those of you that have been in Western Wayne County have certainly seen those. They started with one location, and with the support of their children, as they grew up, they took over the business and expanded to multiple locations, including South Lyon, Holt, near Lansing, and I'm sure I'm missing some additional locations. And then some of them even expanded into the pizza business. If you've seen Toromino Pizza around town, they're likely either that run by one of the family members or a franchise. Their dream of starting that first ice cream soft serve has blossomed to create thousands. I first said hundreds. I believe it's probably thousands of jobs for high school students and others around southeast Michigan. So I'd just like to extend our sympathy to that family, and I'll be stopping by the funeral home this afternoon, so I was close to the family, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Monique Baker McCormick.
Thank you. I wanted to add Cabria Arnold. She's the young lady that was gunned down and left in the street. She was only 20 years old. And she was also 3 months pregnant. She was a friend of my daughter's and attended Ludington Middle School as well as Cass Tech. I took her to school on some days, and we have to do something, as Commissioner Clark Coleman said, about gun violence, but in particular, this was domestic related, and they found out that allegedly that the boyfriend did it. And in the case with the police officer, supposedly it had something to do with domestic violence. So I'm sending my prayers out to the family as well as the family of the officer that was killed. And we'll be working on something around domestic violence. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yeah, domestic violence was the crutch of both of those incidents, and we have to do something about that as well, the domestic violence and the gun violence. Thank you. Tanya Heidelberg Yap is someone I'd like to put in as well. Tanya Heidelberg Yap was interim director for the United Way a few years back. She was also a classmate of my husband, as a matter of fact, and unfortunately she passed away last weekend. She leaves behind a husband and small children, so we want to keep that family in our prayers. Dr. Heidelberg was a very renowned dentist in the Detroit area. I'm sorry, dermatologist in the Detroit area for many years, and Tanya and Karen are his daughters. I've known the family for over 30 years. We all went to high school together, and Karen went into her father's footsteps, and she now owns a dermatology practice, but her sister, Tanya, who passed away, was an entrepreneur, and as I mentioned, was very active in the community, and her services will be tomorrow. So we want to keep that family in our prayers as well. Any other remarks by members? If not, everyone please rise for a moment of silence for all of those who we've lost. Thank you. Next item, please.
Reconsiderations,
There aren't any next.
remarks by members.
Earlier today, I don't know if she's still here, but Commissioner Joan Gebhardt. Joan Gebhardt, former commissioner, was here earlier. She's gone, but does want to recognize her. She was also very active on the board, as a matter of fact, of Schoolcraft College, and she was here, so hopefully everyone had an opportunity to meet and hug her, and she was very happy to be back here for old time's sake, so I wanted to recognize her presence today. I also would like to recognize the month of November was a booming month for births. So we have 3 birthdays this month: Monique Bigger McCormick, Martha Scott, and Jewel Ware. Let's all give them a round of applause for their birthdays for this month. Happy birthday, ladies, and many, many more. Any other remarks by members? Commissioner Webb, then Commissioner Baydoun, then Commissioner Anderson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to publicly thank my staff for their really super hard work that they did on the weekend of the 9th. And I want to thank God for holding off that snow for 36 hours, because I had 125 volunteers out raking leaves for 58 low-income senior citizens and disabled vets, and they raked 1,250 bags of leaves, and about 36 hours later, we were getting a Arctic blast of snow that just buried us. So just thank my staff, because they did a fantastic job, and all my volunteers that come out every year to do this. This was our 11th annual, and like I said, thanks to God for holding off the weather so we could get it done. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Baydoun.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to thank our colleague, Commissioner Palomera, for inviting us yesterday, and Tim Johnson and all the staff for working on the tour, and Khalil from the administration to tour the McLeod Steel. I haven't seen this facility in many years, just driving by, but it was an eye-opening experience to tour this facility on the inside and to see what they're doing to this facility. It's truly amazing, and I just want to thank you. And maybe because we were all in your district yesterday, the county decided to reopen the bridge on Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Anderson?
I just wanted to mention, we also had present a little earlier Terry Gilligan from the Schoolcraft College, and Commissioner Marecki, Commissioner Webb, and myself all have at least part, if not all, of our district that are in the Schoolcraft district. And Terry Gilligan's been a friend of mine for many years, and he was here earlier also. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Palomera.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Over the course of the past weekend, there was an athletic contest played in an adjacent county that held a passing interest by some, of which I had an insignificant bet, which I lost, to the Commission's charge d'affaires and Viceroy. That's why I'm wearing a maize and blue tie today. So, on a happier note, I want to thank everybody that came yesterday to see McLeod Steel. The unbelievable remediation that's already been done. Everyone will be invited back again, and if you missed it, you want to come back in the spring when all the buildings are down, all the land is cleaned up, and hopefully we'll repair back again to my favorite restaurant in the world, Sibley Gardens, which was a marvelous place to wrap up yesterday's meeting. So thank you for everybody who came yesterday, and I hope, like you, that you're happy to see that type of activity occurring in Wayne County. Thanks again.
Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you for spearheading that tour yesterday. I was unable to attend, but I do look forward to attending in the springtime to see all the wonderful things that's going to happen at that site. Commissioner Irma Clark Coleman?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, in my emotions, I forgot to mention that there was an officer who was wounded. So we also need to hold him in prayer. You know, we in Detroit, we commissioners represent Detroit. We have police precinct community meetings, and the 12th precinct is in my district. We bond with those officers because we meet on a monthly basis at the precinct, and we establish a strong relationship with those officers. So they become like our buddies, our friends. So when something happens to one of those officers or any officer, you know, it's very emotional. But we also need to hold the other officer who was wounded in our prayers also. And to know that I agree with Commissioner McCormick, Baker McCormick, that these domestic violence issue, it is a big issue. If you talk to any police officer, I was married to one, they will tell you that the calls that they receive on domestic violence is the most dangerous call that they will ever receive, because they don't know what they're walking into.
Right.
And so you have to admire those police officers who put their lives on the line every single day. But these domestic violence issues, calls are very, very dangerous. And I admire the wives and families who sacrifice their loved ones in this to protect us, to protect us, every one of us. Thank you.
Absolutely, and I'll say my cousin was a police officer for the city of Detroit, same age cousin, and he survived DPD, but lost the battle with cancer a few years back. So, but we know that the work that they do is very dangerous, and we have to keep them lifted up in prayer all the time. Commissioner Marecki.
Thank you. I just want to thank the staff and Joey, too, for the tour yesterday. And I think I was amazed at the size of the land, what they've done, but I think the most amazing thing is they haven't used one penny of taxpayer money to do what they're doing. And this is really a good example of a public-private partnership with this project. It's amazing that the money that's going into this and what they're going to do with this in the future. So thank you. It's an eye-opener.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Commissioner Basham.
Yeah, the EPA is going to clean it up, but it's all taxpayer dollars. But I'd like to thank publicly Commissioner Palmera with Khalil that worked with a constit of actually Commissioner Palmera's. 40 years ago, there was a young man at the time that spray painted on a rusty panel hanging outside the building his future wife's name. And it meant so much to him when they were going to tear McLeod Steel down. The young man's his niece contacted me, and I worked with Commissioner Palmera and Khalil. They actually took this panel down. It's a huge panel, and I took my saw over and cut that one little section out and surprised them by taking a rusty old panel with a hardly to read a name on it to their house, and they have it proudly, believe us or not, displayed in their living room. It goes back to their romance, and so we might see things as rust and terrible graffiti when in fact somebody 40 years ago it meant the world to them. And so first of all, thank you, Commissioner Palmera, for working with me on that. And then thirdly, I was doing real good about the leaves until Commissioner Webb brought it up, and it's like I only have 100 trees, so we'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Palmera.
Yes, thanks for recognizing me again. I want to thank those that thank me, Sam and Terry and Ray, and just to clear up any confusion on the comment that it's only been private money for the cleanup and the reference that the EPA is involved. The Superfund will get involved at some point when the private company is done investing tens of millions of dollars of their own money in the cleanup. So they are on the Superfund list, but there's not been any EPA funds expended yet. Hopefully there will be to take it to an even higher level of cleanup in the future. So yes, you're both right.
All right. Hearing no other remarks. Oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner Hayes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd be remiss if I don't thank the Crown Corporation under the leadership of Mike Samhat, because that issue was a difficult issue when the commission wanted to make decision, and the Maroon Corporation reputation didn't help at all. But the leadership of Mike Samhat and the reputation of his family and Highland Park and Commissioner Scott know his father. What impressed me yesterday in the tour is I've been witnessing many cleanup in different way. Never see the EPA compliment somebody till yesterday. And we see the professionalism where they have the monitor and 4 different sites that monitor the air, the steel. I felt good about it yesterday because when they show us the map, it show wonderful piece of land on the river, have a riverfront. It's going to be available for economic development, and I hope it will be huge as the McLeod Steel. I've been told yesterday there was between 7,000 and 5,000 people working on that site. So what put icing on the cake yesterday, the EPA person who really monitored the site. I was standing up with Commissioner Baidoon, and I think Mrs. Gore was there, and he complimented the company on the due diligence when it comes to the environment, to the dust, to the asbestos and everything. I was impressed, and I felt the mayor of the city of Trenton was there because they really make 90% of the decision to choose a Crown Corporation to be the one chosen and approved by the county. So I felt it was a success story. And I want to thank Commissioner Palomera and his invitation to his favorite restaurant in the spring. On behalf of my colleague, I accept that.
Very good.
No, it was a beautiful day to see something done in the right way.
Very good.
And I thank you all.
Thank you all. At that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn. All right. Thank you all. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving to everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. So far.